Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's episode, folks, I have a couple of creepy Men in Black encounters, folks. In the first one, the guy who witnessed this particular humanoid entity didn't call it a Men in Black, but from the way it was acting, it really reminds me of various other accounts of the Men in Black, folks. With the creepy white skin and its demeanor, it really reminds me of them. Either way, let's read this first article and then hear another account with the Men in Black. Menacing humanoid encounter in Penn Station, New York City. Let's get into it now and hear exactly what the witness, experienced and saw. The fear installed in me was so tremendous, to this day I can't explain it. His face was not human, his eyes looked right through you. It was something I wanted to forget as soon as possible, but couldn't. That was a brief little blurb from the story, folks. And it really sets up what we're about to read, folks. So let's hear the entire account now and get into it. Hello, this occurred on October 1st, 1999 in the afternoon. I was ascending the escalator at Penn Station in Manhattan, New York City, when I reached street level towards my left about 20 feet away in what seemed like a male figure standing tall about 6 feet 7 inches near the mouth of the entranceway to the station. Crowds of commuters flowed around him as though he wasn't there. He stared at the variety of passerby as though he were trying to choose one of them. I caught a glimpse of his face, maybe his eye too. I don't remember if he was looking at me or not, for no more than 2 seconds, and looked away immediately. Kept walking down the sidewalk without turning back, feeling that if I turned around for another look, however far away I was getting, it would be the end of me. We've read about that as well, folks, in other accounts with these strange humanoid entities like this, where if you turn around, you feel that you will literally be killed on the spot. So, would this be exactly what this would have happened to this man? Or would it have been maybe like other accounts we've read about before, folks, in which you take your eyes off this entity or cryptid, and when you look back, it's gone? Would that be exactly what happened here, folks? And why did he feel like if he looked back, he would be killed? Could it be that this entity looked at him briefly and implanted in his mind the thought that if he looked back at it, or even followed it, he would die? It sounds possible, folks, because this entity sounds like a Man in Black to me, and they are often spoken about as basically looking odd with pale skin, or basically even acting odd. Now, this entity wasn't mentioned as basically wearing the typical attire of a Man in Black, but you get the feeling that this entity was looking for something or someone. Could that entity have been looking for another alien, perhaps? Or maybe it was there to scope out individuals for a possible future abduction. It's also a possibility, folks. I would love to know if this witness who saw this being, has he ever experienced missing time due to possible alien abductions? Or is this his first encounter with anything paranormal or even ufological at all? Either way, folks, let's finish off this article and then we can talk about it a little more, maybe after we read the next one as well. The fear instilled in me was so tremendous to this day that I can't explain it. His face was not human. His eyes looked right through you. It was something I wanted to forget as soon as possible, but couldn't. It's as though he had some kind of will that said, keep walking, don't look, don't stop. This does not concern you. His face was a light gray, almost white, with a thick brow and menacing eyes, and the thing that stays in my mind most was his stature, or the way he was standing. His back was arched, broad shoulders, his elbows pointing toward his back, his head tilted down just a bit, looking at the tops of people's heads, scoping them out. It was a normal day, people going about their business, and there was this thing standing right in broad daylight. I know it was not a human. Oh, indeed, folks, it really doesn't feel like a human here, folks. Though, especially with the way people were basically flowing around him, as if he wasn't there. I mean, literally, they were walking around him, folks, and they probably were thinking they were walking straight ahead down into the station, but they really just, went around this guy. Now, it could be maybe that he was just giving them a push in their mind, and so they basically just ignored him. Maybe they did know that something was there, and they had to go around him, but they didn't react angrily with him basically standing in their way, or basically even notice his odd appearance. So it makes me think that this entity had some kind of telepathic power. So maybe indeed a Man in Black encounter. Either way, folks, let's get to the next article. Men in Black, creepy encounter in Boynton Canyon, Arizona. Let's read exactly what this female witness saw and how it affected her, folks. because it's a truly frightening encounter. It makes you think that maybe this witness was being selected for some sort of possible encounter in the future, maybe even abduction. Either way, let's get into the account now. Everything about it was black. Suddenly, the rear door opened and a man dressed in all black peered out, rotating very mechanically as if he were a robot and gesturing to Krista that she should follow. This comes from Boynton Canyon, Arizona, May 1987 evening. Either way, another very bizarre account, and that was a brief blurb from it. So let's get into this May 1987 account now. Krista Telton and her friend Barbara had gone walking up a mountain and were resting under the shade of a tree when they soon heard a car engine on the road below. Turning to look, they saw the weirdest black car they had ever seen. It was an old-fashioned limo that was so shiny that they could see their reflection on it. Everything about it was black. Suddenly, the rear door opened and a man dressed in all black peered out, rotating very mechanically as if he were a robot and gesturing to Krista that she should follow. Screaming to her friend, who kept walking up the hillside, Krista jumped into her car and pursued the limo. It headed toward what seemed to be a military compound with a guard at the gate. By the time Krista arrived, the black car had vanished, and the guard denied having seen such a vehicle. Feeling rather scared, Krista drove back toward her friend, only to find the black limo blocking her path ahead. So, very terrifying here, folks. It sounds like these beings wanted this girl to follow them. Why? We can wonder about that in the next chunk of the article, folks, which goes into some detail about possibly why. But either way, this being wanted her to follow him. It feels like this was almost set up, folks, and the fact that they were heading towards a military base. Now, I can imagine that this guard was under standing orders to let these two men in black in, and then deny anyone who was following them and deny the existence of the vehicle by saying he didn't see anything. Either way, the fact that these entities were able to somehow backtrack so quickly behind Krista and have their car block them, that's another telling fact, folks. That makes me think that maybe there's more to this black vehicle, that it might be some sort of actual UFO disguised as some sort of classic limousine than anything else. Either way, it's truly something to consider as well. But here we have the next part of the article, folks. So let's read, well, it as well. From this angle, it was possible to see inside the car there were two men, both in black and wearing sunglasses. Rolling down the window of her car, she heard the man say to her, "The time is all wrong," before mumbling something about the local topography in words she did not fully understand. Krista then followed the strange limo and attempted to take a picture, but her camera malfunctioned. The limo was soon lost from sight. So, she was still traveling in her car, folks, and what was truly strange is that even though she was in her car, she couldn't keep up with them. So it makes me think that, indeed, this limo, and I don't know if limos can go all that fast, folks, must have been going at a good pace, and that maybe it was more than a limo. And the fact that she literally lost sight of it, well, either this thing basically somehow turned off just in any alleyway or basically maybe pathway off the main road, or literally it just disappeared, maybe into the ground perhaps. There's been speculation that these entities basically have tunnels under the ground, folks, if these were some sort of alien entities or maybe somehow affiliated with the men in black and the government. Or it could be that this, well, thing that these men were driving really was some sort of UFO and they flew off. Either way, let's read, well, the source of this story, folks. It comes from Jenny Randall's The Truth Behind the Men in Black with Albert S. Roselius as well, basically attributing or basically contributing to this particular article. Either way, another strange account that would involve encounters with weird men in black or basically humanoid entities, folks. I think that both stories involve the men in black, because we read about before, folks, about the men in black basically, well, being seen, but they weren't wearing the typical attire of the men in black. Either they wear these typical dark black suits or they wear military uniforms. But there have been other accounts of so-called women in black and maybe even, well, the black-eyed kids wearing rather normal-looking clothes, but basically there's been speculation that they are all related to each other. Either way, that could be what we're reading here, folks. Do you think it's possible? Maybe indeed. Either way, until further information comes out, we'll just have to wait. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.